Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the Dohyo Sumo podcast with me, your host Scott Finlay, and unfortunately, my awesome co-host John Trail had to skip this episode, but will be back in the next. As many of you know, I'm Scottish, just in case you couldn't tell with the accent. So I'm from the British Isles, part of Team GB Sumo Federation and current minus 85 kilogram champion. And these days, with so many of us having such an online presence, I wanted to start giving my home country a little bit of spotlight and decided interviewing the team picked to represent us in Poland at the European Championships on Saturday, September 3rd and Sunday the 4th would be a good place to start. Unfortunately, although picked for the team myself, I won't be going as I'm nursing a bad injury, but I'll be going to the Swiss Open in November, so check your boy out there, guys. Team GB hasn't right now got much of an online presence, just some small things here and there, but many of the athletes and myself and the leaders of British Sumo want to make changes with that. So, firstly, follow their Instagram with the link in the description box. But I asked the team going to Poland to join me one by one to have a quick, short chat and get their feelings on amateur sumo, going to Poland, British sumo, and a couple of other sumo related topics. And I hope this is the first of many times I can showcase British sumo. I have invited them back on as a team when they return home, so please check that episode out when it comes out. I am also not biased, guys, and always happy to chat to any person involved in sumo out there across the whole globe, no matter where your country is or where your team is. I'm open to collaborations as well, so just drop me a message if you want. So without further ado, let's meet some of the British lads. First up, I have a young man who, although new to sumo, has certainly made an imprint and is excitedly looking ahead to his first international competition, 19 years old and fighting at minus 100, Sonny Bell. Thanks for coming on, Sonny. How are you, bud?
Absolutely, any time. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Aye.
Having a really lovely time. Looking forward to the interview.
Good. You've actually joined us. You're actually in an airport right now, aren't you?
That is correct. Yeah, I'm flying home.
Where were you?
I'm in Marseille right now, but I've come from Monaco.
Nice, nice, nice. So that's you on your way home to England now?
Yeah, getting into Heathrow.
Brilliant, brilliant. So let me start with the first and most obvious question for you, mate. How did you discover British sumo, amateur sumo in general?
It's actually quite an interesting one, to be honest. I mean, I was planning on. I'm currently in my gap year,
Mm-hmm.
just traveling, having a good time, and I was hoping to go to Japan for around 3 months and also Southeast Asia, but mainly focused on like traveling Japan specifically.
Right.
And I just looked into it. I was like, I didn't end up going sadly because of COVID, but I did end up getting into sumo as a result because I just wanted to try and have a look at a bit more the cultural side of things.
Aye.
Sport
Aye.
sumo, I've always been quite athletic myself with like rugby and other sports like rowing, all physical sports. And I thought, well, what was sumo saying? So I had a look around like London where I'm based, like absolutely nothing, nothing really around.
Mm-hmm.
You've got amateur wrestling, but not specifically sumo. And I just saw the website, literally the GB Sumo website
Mm-hmm.
federation, and I just saw the number, rang it, and Steve picked up the phone on the end,
Steve Bateman.
and yeah, Steve
Aye.
Bateman, yeah, he
Aye.
picked up the phone on the other end, and he just told him interested in sumo, love to give it a crack, and he was like amazing. In a couple, I think it was like maybe a couple of weeks after that, he said like, oh, a couple of weeks, we've got a little camp for the weekend. It's in
Mm-hmm.
Doncaster. Come along. I was like, yeah, sounds good. Penciled it
Aye.
in and got the train up. And that's kind of where it all started. It was a really fun, really spontaneous sort of introduction to it. But
Aye.
I really, really enjoying it.
Aye. Well, mate, you've been doing really well, and you seem to integrate yourself into the sport really well as well. And I'll tell you this, you have got the biggest thighs I have ever seen on a guy who's not overweight in my life. And see, I know you're quite new to sumo. It takes some years to
Yeah,
learn, but
massively.
already you're doing really well.
Thanks, man.
So how long have you actually been with British sumo and training in the sport?
To be honest, probably probably just under a year, like properly.
Amazing.
Because for me, only done a few. I think I've done a total of 5 to 6 sessions with the guys. That's either in Doncaster, Derby, and one in Ivor, Mandeep. But yeah, but then when you're at home, most you can really do is just the simple stuff, the movements, the stretches, the starts. Getting against a wall or a tree and having a good go.
I know that I've met you a couple of times, mate, and you're really I think twice we've met, and the difference in you for the first time to the second time was tremendous. So I don't think it's going to take you that long to get good. But let me ask you this: so Poland, this is your first competition away, especially internationally. How do you feel about Poland? What's your thoughts about Poland? Are you nervous? Are you ready to go?
It's what it is. I'm just really more excited because for me it's more of an experience, really
Absolutely.
getting grips to it, a proper cultural immersion into it almost. That whole European side of it. Really looking forward to seeing what kind of competitors around the world are like and what they're doing and how they differ a lot, because obviously it's totally different training styles and performance styles. So for me, it is just going to be a really great experience to hopefully lead on to more.
Right. Have you checked some of your competition out yet? Have you had a chance to look, or do you plan on doing that before you go?
I think I'm going to do it a lot more short notice. I feel like if I look too much into it, could be a bit tricky, but I haven't actually looked into anyone.
I try my best to not watch too much of who I'm competing against because I always get into my own head. So I totally get where you're coming from. So what categories will you be competing in? Will it be one or is it multiple? What is it you're going to be doing there?
So I think I'm only in one. I'm in the 100 kilo weight max.
Right.
For the competition, assuming 100 kilo weight.
So, Sonny, let me ask you another question. What is your thoughts on the other athletes in British Sumo at the sort of calibre, not only that we train at, but just the sort of athletes that we produce? Just off the top of your head, what's your opinion?
I mean, these guys who were going up, even just when in training, show me the ropes and give a good go. We have a few bouts here and there, and even when they're not, even when they're not at 100%, they're 60%, little tussle. It's just you can immediately feel the difference in not only technique, obviously, but just pure strength as well. Especially some of the athletes. Like I'm not saying I'm a big guy, as you said. I'm pretty strong. I hold my own, but some of these guys just know how to do it so well, and it's just so impressive. But the thing is, it comes with a lot of this training aspect, and also like a lot of the lads who we're with, they're all really down to earth, really hard working, good guys.
Absolutely,
this isn't like this isn't their like main like go-to thing, which I think comes a lot with British sports in general as well. You've got amateur footballers, you've got your amateur rugby players, taking in a couple quid, a couple week, a couple games here and there. But then for sumo, it's all kind of out of just us really, and trying to get it more global and more on the map and kind of spread almost not, I wouldn't say awareness, but just the real love of that sport. Really get going with it.
No, I absolutely agree, mate. I agree, and with somebody who's obviously been an athlete all their days and involved in other sports, you can always gauge what other athletes are like when you do compete against them. Final question for you, mate. Who, in your opinion, out of all the guys, do you think has the best chance of snatching up a medal? So there's you, Adam, Woody.
Yeah. And then Deep as well.
Deep and Big Courtney.
I really think Courtney and Deep have a really good chance.
Right. That's fair. That's fair, mate.
I do think, and I think they could give it a good go. And Courtney's quite new to the sport. He kind of started at the same time I did, but he's just got ridiculous frame. He's a massive guy.
So, Sonny, that's it. That's all I needed you for, mate. That's all my questions. Thanks so much for taking the time to join me, brother. I really appreciate it.
But been an absolute pleasure. Really looking forward to it.
And mate, good luck in Poland. And I will be watching, cheering on and supporting yous. And I really look forward to sitting down with yous again on your return with all your medals.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, brother, you take care of yourself. And thanks again. And I'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Scott. You too.
No worries, mate. See you later. Next up, I have a heavyweight competitor. He is the resident bull of Britain, being Britain's answer to Taki Kesho and a regular on the podium over here, Ryan Wood. Thanks for coming on, mate. How are you?
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, Scott.
Good to hear, mate. So, without further ado, mate, I'm just going to fire away with my questions because I'm interested to get your thoughts and feelings, and what your sumo journey was. So, the most obvious question I ask everyone first is, how did you discover not sumo but British sumo, amateur sumo, and competing in general?
So I first got into amateur sumo around about 2018, 2019, through a fellow member, Adam Lloyd.
Right.
We were both playing rugby together at a local rugby club, and he suggested if I wanted to try something different.
Fair enough. And then just said about sumo. Obviously, rugby transfers to sumo really well. So it does, because it's all in that tachi. And mate, I can speak with first-hand experience. You're definitely running with one of the best tachi in Britain. So, Woody, how long have you competed now, mate? How long's that been? Have you competed non-stop since you started, or have you went away and come back? How much training have you put in?
Training wise, I do quite a lot at home, so there's a lot of tackle shields. I have a lot of communications with American football, which is also a previous sport I played as well.
Right.
So working with them helped in a lot of the starting aspects of sumo.
Right.
Some like my starting positions and getting off the mark, as we like to call it.
Mm-hmm. Aye. Aye. So it's been a non-stop thing for you. You've just constantly been progressing through sumo and kind of.
Yeah, definitely.
Aye. Right, cool. So you're obviously going to Poland with the rest of the British team to go compete at the European Championships. How are you feeling in general about that, mate?
I'm quite excited due to it being my first international competition.
Right.
But I'm also quite confident within myself because as an athlete that's worked within team sports mainly, this has given me an avenue to progress confidently in a solo sport.
All right. So you just can't wait to get out there and see what you can do.
Yeah,
Well, I tell you,
definitely.
I'll tell you, I would put money on that if you win the Tachi when you go to Poland. I don't see many people being able to stop you, mate. And that's the truth. Honestly, you've got a really, really powerful Tachi. It's unreal. So, mate, I honestly, I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to compete at a very high level when you do go there. Do you know what I
Thank
mean?
you. I appreciate it.
No worries, mate. So, what categories will you be in now? I know that you're a heavyweight, mate. So you'll be in the heavy. Will you be doing maybe the team or the open? What else will you be doing?
I'm actually not doing the heavyweight this
Oh,
time round.
you're not.
No, I'm doing the open weight and the team event.
All right, fair enough. Interesting. So here, some people best be worried in that open weight then if they've got to face you with less weight on them. I'll tell you that, mate.
I'm really looking forward to getting to grips with other other people from around the world, and hopefully, as a member of the British Sumo, I hope I can perform and bring back some trophies and medals for us to be proud of, so we can
Awesome.
go again.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. See, obviously, you can't speak to actually competing internationally because this will be, as we've mentioned, your first experience doing so. But with watching sumo, having like social media these days, you've got quick access to all sorts of clubs, and you've got all sorts of access to all sorts of amateur level sumo around the world. You're able to see what everybody's up to, the sort of training level. See, compared to that, for your experience with the British athletes, how would you rate the caliber of the British sumo athlete at this point in time?
At this point in time, I still think we are a working process. Um, but if we can start having a core group that can go out and perform at each tournament, and we work together as a federation, then I think we have very much high hopes for the future.
Woody, let me ask you this, mate, and this is my last question for you today. Who do you think out of the team has the highest chance of snatching a medal this time around, just in your opinion?
Hopefully, I'd like to say myself, but that's I don't want to be overconfident.
You can absolutely say yourself, mate. There's nothing wrong with a bit of confidence.
No, definitely. I think we can all come back with a medal, to be honest with you, because the way we have trained as a group and the way we push ourselves to the limits where maybe we have seen through from other countries themselves and the way they have trained, in a sense of it's all the steady warms, and I understand the basic skills are a key factor with any sport. The basics are key, but as the British mentality is, once you are in, you're in for the long haul, and you just constantly go head for heels 100% every time, because we don't mess around when it comes to training. We're full on. Our mindsets are in the dojo. When we are in there, it's give 100%.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, Woody, thanks very much for joining me, mate. I really appreciate you sitting down and sharing your thoughts before you go and compete in the European stage. And
it's an absolute pleasure to be here.
No worries, mate. And I would absolutely love, as I'm saying to everybody, for you to come back and join me, all of you guys as a team, and sit down with me and share some afterthoughts after the fact.
Of course, anytime, Scott.
No worries, mate. Thanks very much. I appreciate it, Woody. Thank you, mate. Next up, we have the current reigning defending openweight British champion, a man never without a plan, and is probably the most experienced British sumo wrestler in terms of international competition, Mandeep Kundi. Deep, thanks for joining me, mate. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Scott. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am good, mate. I'm always good. Sumo, we're talking about sumo, so I'm happy, mate. I can't complain. Do you know what I mean? This is my passion, so I'm always ready to go. Mate, see, without further ado, I'll go straight into the questions. You answer, and we'll go for there. How does that sound?
Yeah, great. Go for it.
No worries, mate. So, the obvious question, and the first one I'm asking everybody is, how did you discover British sumo? How did you discover amateur sumo? Obviously, most of us are pro fans, Ozumo fans beforehand and want to try your hand. And I'm not sure if that may be the same case for you, but I would love to know how your journey started.
So, Scott, it's exactly the same. A fan of pro sumo from childhood, and then reintroduced to it through the advent of the internet. It just happened to sort of pop up into my mind a question that, is there a following of this sport in the UK? When I did a search and I found Steve Pateman, president of the British Sumo Federation in Derby, I just made an inquiry. I got involved. It's been 6 years on, and I've not looked back.
And I can vouch for you in this, mate, that's been non-stop for you as well. You're very dedicated to your craft and what you're doing. So I've got to give you respect for that there, mate. See, out of every athlete going right now, you definitely have the most experience traveling about and competing.
Right.
So, mate, I would say, as I've asked all the guys, like, how you feel about Poland. Are you still as nervous as you were at the start, or has your experience came with a sort of calm before the storm, so that and it's made it easier for you to be able to concentrate at the task at hand?
To be honest with you, Scott, I have always had a calm demeanor, but you got to put your game face on when you're in the match.
Absolutely.
And of course, there is anxiety for various reasons, be it a training session or a competition, be it nationally or internationally. But And that's important to have as well. Otherwise, you become overconfident and you could fall on your face for that reason.
Aye.
But I think what I'm able to counterbalance that with, I always have tried to counterbalance that with, is excitement.
Aye. That's
Yeah,
fair. That's
yeah.
fair. So, have you checked out some of the competition that are going, like some of the athletes that you know? Is there anybody specific that you are sort of watching or looking at, or are you the sort of athlete that sort of stays away from that?
I think that I'm competing with myself,
Good
and
answer.
so yeah. So for me, I have a high regard for those people who are seasoned and those people who are new. But of course, even those who are seasoned are not who they were when I might have seen them or fought them last.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise, I'm not the same either. So it's very dynamic. It's sumo. You could
True.
have
True.
yeah, you could have the underdog beat the odds-on favorite, or
Any
vice
day.
versa. It's just about sort of a number of things, really, as you well know.
Aye.
Presence of mind, hunger. You know, they say over-analysis causes paralysis. So we don't like to overanalyze the competition. We just like to get involved and do the business that we've been trained to do, with the
Absolutely.
same objective in mind, which is to bring gold home every time.
Oh, aye. No, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. So, what categories are you going to be competing in this time, mate? Are you going to be doing a couple of categories, or are you sticking to a one this time? What are you doing?
So I have been blessed with the opportunity to represent my family, my faith, my country again, and that's in all three categories as it stands. So that's the heavyweight,
Mm-hmm.
the open weight, and the
The
team
team. Right.
category as well, which is a really lovely dimension to the sport.
Aye. Fantastic, mate. Fantastic. In your opinion, mate, you have been around the world. You have fought some of the best, some of the worst, new and old. You've been to many different events and many different scenarios. So you probably could bring an opinion to this question. In Britain, the sumo athletes who your teammates, who you've wrestled with, all of us, because obviously I'm part of British Sumo as well.
You are.
What would you say is the caliber of British sumo wrestling? Like, where would you say we are, and how far would you say we have to go?
Oh, that's a really interesting one. It's very subjective, isn't it? There's almost a bias there
Yep,
in answering
absolutely.
it.
To your opinion. Yep, it's to your opinion, and I've asked
Yeah.
everybody the same question, and there is no
Okay.
wrong answer, mate. It's any answer
No,
what
that's right.
you feel or think in your head. Do you know what I mean? That's it.
So I have a high regard for athletes all over and within the UK. I think it's a real big thing to just step in that dohyo. And I think we're all champions in our own right, in our respective weight classes. There's a growing number of people involved in British Sumo now, since I began, certainly. Um, and so my focus, of course, is on myself. But if I was to try and sum up and respond as best as I could to that question, I'd simply say we're all progressing. I've constantly seen progression in terms of looking at us on the world stage. I think we're incomparable because we carry a spirit with us that is unique to us and us alone. We are part of history. You know, it's very interesting because
Aye.
we don't have the some of the opportunities that other people have had in terms of the um, geographic proximity to each other, so they then get to wrestle much more often. You know, and that makes a big difference in your game. But
Aye.
at the same time, we still have a resolve. We've been going strong since 1985.
I think that new life has finally been breathed in it these past couple of years with all of us coming together. And I think
100%.
that we're all really carrying it well, and we're only all advancing and progressing it right now. And as you know, mate, that is my mission. So,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And things are going great. So I actually fully agree with everything you said, bud. And that brings me to my last question for you, Deep.
Sure.
Who, in your opinion, do you think has the best chance of snatching up a medal in Poland for the European Championships?
All of us, all of the British team. That's straight me shooting from the hip. That's not just to sound good on a podcast. No, it's from the heart. I think we all fight with heart. I've seen it, and the world is to see it. So I'm confident that we're all going to do our best, and that best is going to be good enough to bring home not just one medal, but several medals. The rest, time will tell, but I'm looking forward to it.
Right, fantastic, Deep. Here we go. So, I'll be cheering you on and doing everything I can anyway, so it's going to be good. But anyway, that brings me to the end of my wee interview with you, Deep. So I would love to thank you very much for joining me, mate. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you're going to come back and join us for the group chat once you guys come back with all these medals from Poland.
Absolutely.
Brilliant,
Absolutely.
mate. Fantastic. Thanks again, Deep.
Thank you.
So our next British athlete I have up for you guys to meet is the reigning, defending British heavyweight champion, new kid on the block, Man Mountain, Courtney Flasterer. Courtney, thanks so much for joining me, mate. How are you?
I'm good, Scott, mate. Thanks for having me on, fella. Really do appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks very much for joining me, mate. I appreciate you coming on, taking your time to talk to me. So, without further ado, mate, I'm just going to fire right into the questions.
Sounds brilliant. Let's go.
Awesome. So, first question I ask everybody, mate. How did you discover British sumo? Not just sumo. Were you a fan first, a professional sumo, or did it happen by chance? What's your origin story?
Right. Well, I think like a lot of lads my age growing up, I kind of got infatuated with Japanese culture for a while. Obviously, like video games and anime and stuff. I went to Comic-Con a couple of times. So I kind of had a past interest in sumo and karate and judo previously. But then my main sporting background is rugby league, and I met Adam Lloyd through a local rugby league club. One day he saw me packing in the forwards, and he was like, honestly, mate, I think you'd be a good fit for freestyle wrestling. So I had a couple of sessions with him down at the Doncaster Sambo Club. And it was like, actually, mate, you know what? I reckon you'd be a firm fit for sumo. And I think, like a lot of Englishmen are like, sumo, really? Sumo? It was like, no, honestly, mate, sumo wrestling, give it a shot. So I gave that first bite, got the bug, and here I am now, still.
Aye. Well, mate, you certainly come in with a storm, I'll tell you that, because my listeners don't know this, but I'll point it out to them now. You are really, really new to sumo. We're talking months here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Not even been a year yet, I'll tell you that, and you're already the heavyweight champion.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you, Scott. Every so often now, I get like this really weird feeling of almost like imposter syndrome. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'll be at the gym training with some of the lads, or I'll come down to see you lads at one of the meets for everybody else, and some go, oh yeah, that's Courtney. That's he's the champ, and I built around. I'm like, who's the champ? Oh shit, me. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's me. Oh yeah. Sorry, bro. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, sorry. Nice to meet you.
Aye.
I
think, mate, I just don't think that you've caught up in yourself yet, because you come in and you were already naturally gifted. That's something that people are born with. See, like a natural ability to apply themselves well to certain physicalities. So I think that you just, with what you already had experienced with martial arts beforehand, I think that you just managed to apply what you'd learned really well. And I was super impressed with you when you first come on the scene, do you know what I mean? But I totally get what you mean with the imposter syndrome and all. I felt that way when I first won the lightweight British Championship. But see, because it's lightweight and all, and it's hard to get rid of that stereotypical that all sumo wrestlers need to be big giant men. So I had this thing where but I'm not really a champion. Do you know what I mean? It's just like kind of a name. I won a competition, but I'm not really a champion or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? But you, mate, are actually the heavyweight champion. So it must be so messed up for you to feel like that now. Do you know what I mean? Because you are the actual champion.
Well, I mean, my day job's engineer, so I'll be there in a building site somewhere, and like either someone was spoken to my gaffer at the office, or one that knows me on site, and look up and be like, "Are you really a sumo wrestler?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, weird, weird as it sounds, I am." And the next question is, "Are you really the champion?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, I am. Yeah. That's me, mate. Yeah. Oh fuck, I'm off to Poland soon. I'm competing again." And they'll be like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, seriously, pal." Honestly, I think half the lads that find out think I'm having a month for the first half hour.
I know, I totally get that. Again, mate, I can only reflect on that way when I tell people I'm a sumo wrestler. You've seen me, mate. I'm a big streak of piss.
Yeah.
So they look at me and they're like, no, there's no way you're a sumo wrestler. I'm like, that's just, you're trapped in a stereotype, my friend. You just don't know. Know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of that is like the Western perception of sumo is it's two fellas that have one too many Gregs bouncing off each other in a circle on floor, and obviously it's there's a fair bit more to it than that, obviously.
Absolutely, mate.
But yeah, I think that's just like the common pop culture perception, isn't it?
A lot of people are really shell shocked when they discover just how athletic sumo wrestlers are, even the biggest of them. It's a shock to the system for a lot of people when they actually become enlightened and educated more towards it and realize this is obviously, as we mentioned, you're really new to sumo. This is your first international meet, your first time representing the country like this. How are you feeling?
I'm not gonna lie, mate. I'm a full-on mixed bag of emotions. I mean, as you said, I'm still, technically still in my rookie season doing this. And I'll admit, I do somewhat feel the weight of that, knowing that the majority of the fellas I'm going to be going up there against are going to be, much more experienced. So on the one hand, I'm nervous purely for the fact that I feel that oh god, I'm going up there and I'm putting the red, white, and blue on my back, and oh bloody hell, I'm representing Blighty doing this and this, that, and the other. But on the other hand as well, I don't know, there's like a weird kind of calm.
Listen, mate, that is a really human answer you just gave there, and all of my listeners will completely empathise and understand where you're coming from. You're just human, mate. So let me ask you this, big man. So what categories are you fighting in? Now, I know you must be going to go and fight in the heavyweight with being the British heavyweight champion. Are you doing any other categories?
Right, yeah. I've gone in for open weight, heavyweight, and as far as I can remember, I think we're still doing a team event as well.
Awesome. So, as far as your experience in British Sumo, have you had a good time that it's made you fall in love with the sport more, and can you see yourself continuing on with Sumo for the foreseeable future anyway?
Oh, mate, you don't understand. You don't know, mate. Honestly, you don't know. Seriously, anyone that knows me on a personal level will know that when it comes to my job, my first love is engineering. I've done this for 15 years. Right from being a school leaver and a young lad, I was a Meccano kid growing up, you know what I mean? Lego, Connects, all that shit, putting together and building it. I would drop that tomorrow if someone could come along and go, "Hey, do you want to do this full time?" Honestly, I have fallen in love with this sport, mate. I am.
That's great.
Honestly, mate, I've gone absolutely sumo mad.
That's brilliant, mate. That's great to hear because I'm a sumo junkie myself, so I completely get where you're coming from, mate, and I love to hear that.
It is properly a drug. It is
Aye,
properly a drug.
it is, mate. It is. I can't get enough. Everything outside of my wife and kids is sumo, sumo, and more sumo. And I've even got my kids in that involved. As you know, mate, I'm going to Switzerland. I'm taking 2 out of 3 of my kids to compete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of which, mate, you know, the 2 young lads you brought down last time, mate, it was a shame we didn't have any other lads in their age group down with us.
Aye, they done well considering it was all adults
they
were
were
fighting.
really, really good, talented lads, you know. And
Aye.
to say that they were having grown men stood up for so long and not just being rolled over, mate, they were great. Honestly,
they're progressing well. They are super excited and they've been bit with the sumo bug and they just can't wait for Switzerland as well, mate.
Yeah, well, honestly, pal, I'm tough for them. All the best for them, seriously.
Brilliant, mate. Thanks very much. Well, that brings me to my next question, mate, that you're actually talking about the calibre of the under 18s we have up here in Scotland. What would you say the calibre level is of the guys? Like, does anybody stand out to you, or like just in a general scope of what the sort of competitiveness is in British sumo?
Every time we have a meet, as jovial and as amicable as everybody is, as soon as it gets on the mat, you can feel that everything is on the mat. You know what I mean? As soon as you step foot in that dohyo, there is no niceties anymore. You know, you can really feel that every lad that gets down there is hungry for it. You know, I'm honestly proud to say that I'm going with these fellas because the talent and the commitment these boys have got is
definitely
par excellence. You know what I mean? It's fantastic. Mr. Kundi is a well experienced, well oiled machine. That fella is a big man, but he's a big man that can make that move. He's got a brilliant game head for it. You know, Ryan is massively unpredictable. You know, he's got plenty of little techniques and jukes and moves he wants to whip out every now and again, which can make coming near him, if you're not on your metal, a nightmare.
Aye.
And as for Adam Lloyd, well, fuck me. The man is steel cable with a pulse.
He's not human.
No, honestly.
He's not human.
The best way I can describe him to the listeners is it's like trying to grapple with the tier 100. The man just keeps fucking coming. You can't stop him. You can't slow him down.
Aye. I call him sumo.
Seriously,
Aye. I call him the Wolverine of sumo.
Yeah, he really is. He really is.
He's full of tricks, his knowledge, his technical ability, his strength, power, velocity, and speed is all at a completely another level. And in my opinion, and I've said this to everybody, and I'll say it here, see pound for pound, I would say Adam is the top man in Britain. If everybody was the same size, weight, and strength, he would kick all our asses.
Honestly, him and his granite build East Island head, which is probably bulletproof at this point.
Aye, absolutely, mate. I agree.
Fucking
nothing else.
Grief.
And it's been a privilege to be trained by him because the two main coaches for me in British Sumo were Adam and Steve. It was Adam that I first ever met. He got me into it as well. You know what I mean? Like the amateur side, I've been a fan all my life, of course, but Adam done a lot. And then over COVID, I managed to do one training session and then COVID hit. And that man spent 6 months on video chats with me, helping me train. And you know what I mean? And I can back down I owe a lot to Adam Lloyd. So I will always have that guy's corner. Steve included in that, by the way, as he has done a lot for me as well. Treated me with the utmost kindness, welcomed me into the ultimate arms of British Sumo. advises me all the time, has helped me more than he realises, I think. So I owe both of the guys a lot. So I will.
Yeah.
Well, Courtney, I really,
Yes.
really appreciate you joining me. I have loved talking to you, mate. Thank you for coming in and sharing some of your experiences and your thoughts with my listeners. I really
Honestly,
appreciate
Scott, mate, it's been an honour and a privilege, fella. If you'd asked me 10 years ago if I'd be on a podcast speaking with one of the best summer representatives in the world to go abroad and do this, I'd have said you're having me on. But no, mate, this has been unreal. Thanks for having me on, mate. I've really appreciated the privilege, and yeah,
No
hopefully
worries.
next time we're speaking, we've got something to talk about.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Thanks again, mate. My next guy is a veteran of British Sumo, current minus 100 kilogram champion, coach, mentor, and leader of the Doncaster Sumo Club. Link for their Instagram in the description as well. He's had a podium in the European Championships. The new vice president of British Sumo, picked to be team captain and chef de mission, but unfortunately will not be able to attend, but is still good enough to come and join us to talk about the event and the British team. I refer to him as the Wolverine of British Sumo, returning for a second stint here on the podcast, Adam Lloyd. Adam, thanks for joining me, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you. Hope you're well too. It's nice to be
Ma.
back on. Obviously, I've done one of these podcasts previous for you, discussing amateur sumo. Looking forward to doing another, mate.
Aye, brilliant, mate. It's always good to have you on. It's always good to have all of you lads on. So if you don't mind, mate, I'm just going to get straight into asking you some questions. Obviously, your questions are going to differ for all the lads. So I'll just get straight into it and we'll go for there. Is that all right?
Yeah, fine.
Awesome, awesome. So I've came to find out recently, sadly, regrettably, mate, you are going to be unable to take the lead in Poland because you were obviously team captain, chef de mission. You were taking the lead and going to head that up. No longer able to. Who is it that's going to be taking your place at that event now, mate?
Yeah, so Kev Mellor's going to be leading the British contingent out at the European Championships. You know, Kev's been involved in British Sumo for like 20 years now, and he's our chief referee as well. He's been to a number of European Championships. He's been to a number of World Championships and refed at these big events. So the lads are in capable hands. He'll probably do a better job than what I would have done if I was able to attend, to be honest.
That's fair. Fair enough. Aye, Kev's a good guy, well experienced and well versed. So if there was anybody that was going to replace you, mate, I would say that he would have been the best choice as well.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? So, Adam, your thoughts on Poland, mate? Because obviously you, like Deep, that I had on as well, are very experienced in not only sumo and a multitude of sports, but traveling the world competing in sumo for British Sumo as well. You've met a lot of people. I know firsthand how many people you know and how much connections you've got. And I've said this to you before, mate. I have never met anybody that can remember so many weird foreign names that you can and pronounce them properly as well. It's crazy how you do that. I'm still convinced you walk about with a wee list of names up your sleeve, but there you go. So in regards to Poland, mate, you obviously know the calibre of some of the athletes that are going to be making an appearance there. Who would you say are the biggest guys to watch for entertainment, skill, and for our guys to maybe be more cautious with?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm really disappointed I can't go. Obviously, I was competing in the minus 85 class, and I've medalled at Europe previously in the minus 92, but I'm a little bit light at the moment. And obviously, my full-time job, I'm a university lecturer, and it's the first week of the new academic year. And we've had a couple of staff leave the company. Somebody else is expecting a baby that week, and we've just got no staff. So unfortunately, I can't attend because I'm going to have to work. I think in terms of countries at the European Championships, you know, Ukraine are amazing. I'm hoping that the war that's affecting the country isn't going to impact on who they can send. I mean, over at the World Games that was over in Alabama a few months ago, they sent pretty much a full contingency and took some medals as well. You can't miss out on Ukraine. Poland will be strong. There's large participation numbers in sumo in Poland.
Mhm.
And with it being on home turf, they'll be strong.
Absolutely.
You can never, ever write off the Bulgarians. They're just fantastic athletes. And again, they're not solely dedicated to sumo. They do loads of different types of sports. Judo players, freestyle wrestlers, MMA fighters. So they bring some unusual styles and skills to the sport, and they'll always medal. Georgia will be really strong in the heavier weight categories, as they always are. Azerbaijan under Razul Hazanov. Razul is a fantastic coach, sumo. He does a lot of judo coaching, freestyle Olympic wrestling, that. And again, he brings this different style of sumo with the Azerbaijani guys across into competitive sumo. And it's really hard to sort of anticipate what they're going to be doing, and it makes them really good. Hungary, you can never write off Hungary, especially in the female categories. Hungary are always strong. Germany always bring a decent female contingency, and Norway are going from strength to strength as well. I think the big thing is that obviously Russia are not attending. They've been told they're not welcome. And I think that opens it up a lot, because for me, Russia are the best amateur sumo nation. And you know, in pretty much every single weight category, both men and women's, they will get on the podium. In some cases, they'll get 2 people on a podium. So with Russia not being there, it opens it up. I would expect Georgia, Poland, Ukraine, Bulgaria to be the biggest medalers in terms of how many medals they win. But again, they're going to take big contingencies of athletes. So obviously, if you've got a lot of people competing, the chances increase a little bit. In terms of individuals, I think, you know, the -70 class is always really exciting. It's fast. There's a lot of good throws and a lot of good level athletes in there. You have people like Ivan Panovsky, who's always there and thereabouts, doing really well, taking a lot of medals. He's Bulgarian. Moving up to the 85, that's the real class. And that's why I wanted to get in that and mix it up with the best. You've got Svetoslav from Ukraine, Anatoly. You've got maybe 4 Ukrainians in that weight class. I don't know who's actually attending from Ukraine that are capable of gold medaling. You only have to look at some of Svetoslav's highlights, and he's literally suplexing people in the ring. He goes through to -115. You can never write off Vasia from Ukraine again. He's really, really good. He has a very unique style. He sort of doesn't really attack at the tachi. He absorbs the opposition's tachi, gets a double inside Mawashi grip, and simply walks people out. Everyone knows what he's going to do, but he's that good at it, you can't stop him. He's young as well. He's only about 22, 23, so he's got plenty of years ahead of him. Going into the heavyweights, you've got, again, Vereshchuk from Ukraine. There's some okay Hungarians who have a judo background, black belts in judo. They're normally quite good. And then you've got the heavyweight contingency from Georgia, which are always really good, all very Gagamaru-esque. You know, I probably would expect them sending Emirin Titskaradze. He'll be really strong. He'll come back with a medal. And then you've got people like Kamal Fazayev from Azerbaijan, top junior world-class Olympic wrestler. He'll be there and thereabouts as well. So some exciting things. I think for the new people to sumo that don't necessarily understand the sport to the greatest level, the lighter weight categories are the most exciting. You see a lot more flashy things, throws, trips, sweeps, etc.
It's definitely another level, and I can attest to that, mate. That's what also kind of broke my heart as well, when I realised that I wasn't going to be fit enough for Poland and had to pull out. That you had always informed me, and everybody the world over that knows something about amateur sumo knows that, see, between the 70 and 85 class, there is some of the world's best athletes standing in that dohyo. That sumo might not be their first sport, but outside of that, they are. And when they apply that to sumo, it makes these people seriously dangerous competitors.
Oh, there's been like few years ago, there was a Hungarian in the -85,
Mm.
Sandor Bardossi. He's a silver medalist from Beijing Olympics in Greco-Roman.
See,
You know,
there
these
you
are
go.
world-class, fully professional athletes that are now putting on the Mawashi.
So let me ask you this then, based on that, Adam, because we're talking about the calibre of some of the athletes that may be attending Poland. So let's talk about something a wee bit closer to home in our own clubs and things like that here in the UK. So first of all, let me start with the athletes who are actually going to be attending the European Championships. Who would you say out the boys, and you can say all of them, none of them, or one of them, whatever you feel, mate, who would you say is the best chance of snapping up a medal, getting a podium, getting close, you know, doing really well?
Yeah, in terms of Great Britain, it's really hard to say, and I will be brutally honest. You've got Sonny fighting at -100. Sonny is a relative newcomer to sumo.
Absolutely.
And whilst he's come on to the British scene and really taken a stranglehold on the -100 class, it's going to be his first ever international, and it is at the European Championships. Mm-hmm. And it's a big ask, and especially in a very competitive category. And I think Sonny has a chance in winning a few bouts. I will be surprised if he gets anywhere near the podium. Mm-hmm. But I think we have to be realistic in managing our expectations. Absolutely. And for him, it's getting the experience. You know, he's only 20 years old. He's got another 16 years of fighting where he's only going to improve. Mm-hmm. And he definitely will improve with the coaching that we can put in place for him.
Aye.
I would probably say this is just to get him familiar, do as good as he can. And no matter what the results is, he should come back with his head held high.
Absolutely.
And he shouldn't be disappointed. Because in the next few European Championships, so let's fast forward to 3 years, if he progresses at the rate we expect, I'd be expecting to see him pushing a podium place then.
Aye, fair. That's fair.
You've then got big Courtney Flasterer, and I do emphasise big.
He's definitely a fridge with legs.
He is. He's like 6'7", 160 kilos.
Yep.
So Courtney, again, he's fairly new to the sport of sumo. Mm-hmm. And obviously, he came to the British Heavyweight Championship, the +115, and he took the gold medal. And he took the gold medal pretty comfortably. I think, in all realistically, if Courtney doesn't get overawed by the level of competition, and again, this is going to be a new level of competition that he hasn't experienced, I think he'll get to the last eight. Last eight, maybe snatch a victory. Obviously, in amateur sumo, it's not a straight knockout. You have the repechage systems where they award 2 bronze medals. Mm-hmm. If Courtney fights to what he's capable of and potentially gets a good look of a draw, I think it could come back realistically with bronze. I think then you've got Ryan Wood, the mini Takakeisho.
Aye, that's what I call him and all. I say that. He's Britain's version of Takakeisho.
Yeah, so Ryan's fighting in the open weight. And for me, when Ryan gets his tachi firing and he gets it on point, I don't think anybody in Great Britain can beat him.
Do you want to hear something crazy, mate? See that sentence that you have just said? I have word for word said that to him when I spoke to him before you about going here. That's literally, mate, word for word. I will play you back the recording so you can hear. I'm not lying to you. Word for word said what you said about him.
Yeah. And I think, and I've discussed it. I'm obviously one of Ryan's coaches. Absolutely. I've discussed it with him. And the thing we have to ensure with him is that he gets it right over and over again. Mm-hmm. Because when it's right, it is brilliant. And again, I don't even think he needs a good look of the draw. You know, Ryan's played a good standard of rugby and other sports, American football. He's used to competitive environments. And I think if he gets his start right and can get his head focused, I think, again, he'll be looking at quarterfinals, maybe entering through the repechage system and an outside chance of maybe grabbing a bronze. Absolutely. And he's worthy of that. Aye. It's just if he can get that tachi firing constantly.
I agree.
But the problem there is, as well, is, you know, I don't know if it's a problem that he'll have internationally, but at the UK, we're all aware of that. We don't want to get hit by him.
Aye.
Because it's so strong. So then people don't engage with him at the tachi, and that nullifies his tachi.
Aye.
So if people start seeing this in the early rounds where he comes out like a bulldozer and just smashes them,
Aye.
are people going to be less willing to allow him to do that? And they'll anticipate that. And then that's sort of making it harder for him. But we'll have to see.
Aye.
You've then got Mandeep Kundi. Mandeep's been to numerous world championships and Europeans and other events across the globe. And he is hungry. He is desperate to actually get a medal internationally.
Absolutely.
You know, he's fought for Great Britain maybe 6 or 7 times, and he fought out at a very small novice level comp out in America and won that. You know, that is a gold medal, an international gold medal. But I know he wants a proper gold medal at a really competitive competition.
Aye.
I think Mandeep won't be overawed at all. He's been there and he's experienced it before. And he has quite a unique mindset. He's very spiritual, and he sort of understands this and has a good psyche around what he can do as an individual.
Aye.
I think with Deep, he is pretty skillful, but he doesn't have like a go-to. He's good at everything. He's not a master at one thing, if that makes sense.
Aye.
And I think it would benefit him to really pick 1 or 2 skills and focus on that, because then he would be on the podium.
Aye.
I think it depends who he comes against and how he can develop. But again, we could end up, in all realistically, with Courtney and Mandeep coming back with bronze medals. I would hope. I think that would be a real good achievement, and I think Great Britain would be happy. I don't think Mandeep will be happy with the bronze. He wants the big time, the gold, and he can achieve it. It's just whether he achieves it. But yeah, I think again, the Russia not being there opens it up so much.
It does, mate. It does. It
really
opens up a couple of spots for possibilities, and anything can happen. We have a lot of athletes who come and go, and a lot of athletes do it sporadically. But the last couple of years, we seem to have redeveloped a consistent set of people to keep training and all of these things. So, see as your overall grand scope of things right now in the state of British Sumo, let's say, what would you say the calibre of athletes and how much would you say needs to be put into advance us as a nation higher up in that scale of good in this sport? Do you know, with the Russias, Ukraines, Mongolias?
There's so many different facets that feed into that. I think we are growing participation numbers quite quickly in the UK, which inevitably is going to lead to more competition, more suitable training partners, which will hopefully bring everybody on. I think the key thing in Great Britain is that, you know, we get zero funding. Other countries get a lot of funding. You know, Ukraine are at every possible international. Russia go to every international. Bulgaria do. And that's okay when it's being paid. You're not taking chunks of money away from your family, from running the house, etc. And we don't have that luxury at all. So, you know, it's always going to be very challenging to compete with people like that who can attend the big competitions all the time and get that experience and get that extra training in. You know, the Ukrainians will all meet in, I think it's Lviv where they go, and they meet there for like full training weeks. They live there for a full week and train. They're out in Japan training at university dohyos with top ranking university sumo players. And it's just something that we can't do in Great Britain. And it's crazy to say that, as we're a first world country and we're probably one of the richest and most powerful countries. But the way our sports governance works in the UK is they fund existing success. So like when we're winning lots of medals in swimming, they pump more money into swimming. When we had a really good rowing team, they were funding rowing. And it's one of those catch-22s that, you know, we have people that with the right funding will win golds at Worlds in sumo. But without that funding, they're never going to develop to that level. So they're never going to win the golds, and then they're not getting that funding because they're not winning the golds. It's a broken system. But unfortunately, it's governmental, you know, government-led. It's not something that we can interfere with and change. I think private sponsorship would be strong, but again, who's going to drive that? Who has the expertise in developing private sponsorship here in the UK? I mean, it's been great. We're starting to get a bit of a foothold down in London. London's always been quite a barren area. And I think the sport will develop quite quickly down there. We've got a couple of guys out in Buckinghamshire. That's not too far from London, 2 separate clubs down there. Mandeep being one of them and his guys. We've now got yourself and the guys up in Scotland, which I think Scotland will grow quite quickly. We're always got numbers in Doncaster. I think it all comes down to money, if I'm honest, Scott. We've got the talent, we've got the dedication, and we've got the coaches. It's just about money in terms of getting us more exposure, more training time and that.
I agree with you, mate. And I think that hopefully that'll all start changing in the next couple of years for us, because I'm hoping that with the leaps that we're trying to start taking together as a team will help. Obviously, the main club is the British club in Derby with Steve Pateman, the president. But outside of that, in terms of producing the best athletes, the best competitors who have had the most achievements and at a high calibre, Doncaster's up there. That I would say that the club you're coaching and that you run is probably the best in Britain right now, and I'm inspired by it, mate. That's obviously why I ask for help a lot and things like that with the club that I've just started up here.
Yeah, I think we're lucky. You know, we had a training base that we ran going back like 10 years ago. I think myself, Brad Robinson, you know, I think there's only me and Brad medalled at the Europeans in the last 15 years in Great Britain, and Brad's done it twice. The last British Championships that were held earlier this year, I think these figures might not be quite right, but out of the 18 medals available, I think Doncaster athletes took 15.
Right.
So we've got a good contingency. You know, we're building it all the time. We've now got a solid little training base in Doncaster, which is the Doncaster Sambo Club. So we're exposing ourselves to Sambo athletes, and Ewan Lister, who runs that, he is a member of the British Sambo squad, multiple-time British champion in Sambo. We brought him down. He took a silver in the -70, having never, and that was the British Championships, having only ever done one coaching session with me. And obviously that pays testament to the level of his throwing ability, his Sambo and his freestyle wrestling. He tore the field to pieces. And it's only going to get better for us because we are actively recruiting top-class athletes that can convert into good sumo players.
Absolutely, mate. I agree. I don't even have anything to add to that, mate, because that is along the lines of what my thought process is on the subject as well.
So, you know, when we're discussing, like, that we are the national team for sumo and we can't get any funding, the university where I work, we actually have an academy in rugby union. So we have a lot of students that play and train university rugby.
Right.
That has £70,000 investment a year put into that. And they're not international athletes.
Oh.
You know, you might get one or two that sign a professional contract. And we have had this previously where they've turned pro, but we're chucking £70,000 a year into that provision. And they're just basically students. You know, we're the elite of the elite and we don't get anything. It's interesting the comparison of actual performance level and investment.
Well, there is some actual food for thought on the state of affairs and sport in general in UK now.
Yeah.
That is what's happening. So, Adam, that is all my questions done for you today, mate. And I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge and taking the time to educate us all on the state of affairs right now. I really appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much, mate.
Not a problem, Scott. I'll end with just a quick prediction for those that are going to be watching the European Championships being streamed.
Well, if you're in World of Sumo, then you're going to be watching, because trust me, it's my team that's over there. Everybody will hear about it. Brilliant.
Keep your eye out. Vasia Dayuria, Ukraine, -115. He's my tip for the gold. Svetoslav Simarinkas, Ukraine, my tip for the gold in -85. And then check out Pencho Dochayev from Bulgaria, -85 again. Watch this guy. He's a pro MMA fighter and he has the most unusual style and it's exciting. Keep your eye on him because he'll get a medal as well.
You heard it here first, guys. You watch out for him. And if you guys have got any other questions about amateur sumo or the European Championships, just leave a comment in the box below and I'll be sure to get back to you on that.